Well, that's just great. I've released all that woman and it's trapped with nowhere to go.
Oh yeah, the all-infamous jingle of 2019. Maybe I should have used this one from last year. But anyways, like I tell you guys, I think today's is going to be quite interesting. Because do you actually remember the time when Pokemon used to be really, really amazing? Well, yes, it's sort of kicking in today. It really is starting to become extremely popular as years go by. And I'm actually thinking, is there a very certain toy? We've only got one flat product to review. And it's basically this one here. The shiny legendary Beastz fluffy figure 5-pack. And look at that, is that Suicune? Wow, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? But this toy here has a very staggering price of £15.99 or £16. And as the cold weather is still basically leveling up for this year's June, it feels like that premium brands tend to charge premium prices. And what's quite strange is that we're currently in generation 99.99, but we still also have this very weird Ash Ketchum style logo in a sense. And to be quite honest, here are the other critters. Is that Entei? And is that Raikou on the background there? It looks pretty cool. I wonder what they're called. Suicune, Entei, and Raikou Tora. I'm pretty sure it's like a combination of Raikou and Tora, which I think it means lightning cat or lightning tiger in Japanese. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Okay, coming in for the unpacking. What's actually quite interesting on the back of the packaging there is that they all have puffballs on the back. And there's also some very fake fire, just to learn a bit of pyrotechnic sort of things going on here. Whoa, look at that big blue beauty, eh? And they actually look like shiny forms of the legendary Pokemon that you often find in the Johto region. That's very nice. I don't know if this thing can stand. Actually, yes, it does look like the back feet are actually flying. But this is Suicune, I call it. This is what it looks like. It's a very interesting reminiscent model of shiny Suicune. So I'm literally just making them as a bit of a model. Just making them just after shiny Suicune and other shiny Pokemon. Very interesting indeed. The next one here is Raikou, and I think Raikou looks so cool. And I think it looks very nice. It's a shiny form of Raikou. Or is it Raikou, as I call it, of course. The disappointing fact is that the fluff is starting to, it's actually starting to open a hole. So it's actually deteriorating. Maybe I need to add a lot more glue. So I could literally make it more glued in and make it more stick together. You know, I'm actually just sort of thinking it should actually be stuck together. And it should stay together in one piece, because I just feel like it's going to be too risky if this happens like that, I suppose. But nevertheless, to be honest, I suppose the glue is drying, which is very nice. And it looks very much like shiny Raikou. It's got a blue tail as a lightning bolt. Yeah, it's actually very, very nice and simplistic. There's some more fake fire here, which looks pretty weird. I don't know how good or bad if this is fake fire. Maybe this is like the reminiscence of... It's a bit like the story when the lightning struck the Tin Tower, and then and then we have the fire burning the tower, and then we have the rain putting out the fire of the tower, which really explains Raikou. First came Raikou. Oops, sorry about that. First came Raikou, and then comes Entei. Now look at the details of Entei. It looks very cool, doesn't it? It's got a pair of green eyes, as you can tell. And look at that, look at the amount of fluff. It's like a legendary sort of beast. It looks like a lion in sheep's clothing. Now we already have heard of wolf in sheep clothing, but now we have some sort of weird lion in sheep clothing. Now, this is something to basically represent Entei, the legendary Pokemon Entei. And it's very amazing to say that the mouth detailing looks very nice indeed. And if I have a bit of a close-up look, you can start to see how amazing it looks. It doesn't look more of a lion to me. It looks more of a weird sort of bovine thing. Very weird, isn't it? And it's got a very, very strange tail on the back here. It's a very unusual looking Pokemon. To be honest, I don't know if that looks like Entei. Maybe it's the face. I suppose that really illustrates about Entei. To me, I think we have Raikou and Entei next, and finally you have Suicune, which really explains the Pokédex on how the burned tower and how I dare say, on how the Tin Tower was burnt. Well, actually, maybe the Tin Tower wasn't really the one that was burnt. I can't remember the name of that tower which was burnt. I'm pretty sure. I'm actually sort of thinking, it looks pretty nice. I actually love the detail of Suicune. I mean, it looks very long, and I certainly love it, but I think it looks pretty amazing indeed. And it looks like it's flying, I suppose, It's got one leg offset from the ground. I actually like Raikou a lot. It looks very nice. I love the tiger sort of design. Yeah, it's actually quite amazing. These are actually looking like the legendary Beastz from Johto, which is like one of the second Pokemon regions to be based off a region in Japan, of course. And I think it's like Gold, Silver, Heart Gold and Soul Silver. Maybe I'm just saying the very interesting games of the Pokemon franchise correctly. And I think this has been a very quick video, but I could tell you guys maybe I should basically go ahead and do some more weather analysis. Well, I'm just going to pack these away, and I got to tell you guys the more I tend to rant about the weather, the more unsettled the weather it could be. But just because I could stress about the weather so easily doesn't exactly mean that the weather is going to be incessantly unsettled. So that's the way I'm saying, guys, And no matter how I look, I often have this very, very infamous jingle of going, "Well, that's just great! I'm released all that water and it's trapped with nowhere to go!" And on the background there, I think I can see the moon. Oh, file. Look at the clouds, I think they've just covered it. And while I'm making this video, I've actually got some very, very good news here. I'm actually still going to be producing some more cards. I'm actually quite interested on just making loads and loads of cards because I think this is actually the best way to keep a production running, surely, I suppose. And there's one thing I can tell you about the Team Up trading card game booster pack, is that they just never keep on just disappearing. They just still... Actually, they've been super massively popular for the fact they've been manufactured, not just for the fact that they're basically part of an empty peg syndrome. And yes, I think I've still got a very massive card invasion to clear up. Of course, I've actually just printed more cards. I've actually printed 7 cards just recently, And I think we're only going to have, I'm not sure how many of these booster packs I might have. Maybe they could be the first and the last ones to appear in the stores, I suppose. Well, maybe Flip Flap is basically in my area, of course. It looks pretty amazing. I could tell you guys, this has been one of the most likely of all produced items of 2019, which has been chronically amazing for a whole bunch of items like that. And there's one thing I can tell you guys, these types of toys will be sought after by collectors. Well, just as I load Mozilla Firefox again, I'm actually just going to take a look at the weather that we have in the UK, and I think it's been very unsettled, so I might take a look at the weather in Northfield, which is basically the area that I live at the moment. And sadly, we've still got the unsettled conditions here, and it feels like we've got 21 degrees Celsius, which unfortunately is mitigating the effect of some very interesting sunshine. It does feel warm, but I think what has been very disappointing is that the weather is still unsettled. So I don't see any signs of very hot or very warm weather, I suppose. And if we come towards the following week, it's still going to be the same pattern, filled with some very unsettled weather conditions. So we have sunshine and showers, but unfortunately, heatwave conditions are now becoming a dying art form and a dying era. So unfortunately, I don't think there's any heat waves coming in for this year. Or maybe I might be totally wrong in the way I tend to say things versus the way you tend to say. And maybe this is also the reason why people are still in their winter clothes for some very interesting reason, I suppose, Maybe except the high humidity. I might be totally wrong, but that's the way it goes. I often say that it's actually quite very, very scary when you just talk about summer weather these days, of course. And I just feel like it, because if I just go to this map here, I'm very curious on how this low pressure system is doing here. Now, if I scroll all the way towards for next week, look at the high pressure. It's actually coming towards us, but I think it's moving very slowly. And I might take a look at the monthly outlook, and unfortunately low pressure is starting to return again. So there's nothing I can say anything great about summer of 2019. It's just the fact that we are literally just invaded by this whole great big troublesome, a great big pair of troublesome pieces of low pressure here. And what we see is that it becomes warmer and drier for most by the end of next week. And I think it's actually going to be very sad that the warm weather is going to be very short-lived. So it's going to be very disappointing in a sense. I feel like I need to wait until the equinox or the summer solstice has passed, or maybe Father's Day needs to be passed as well. And sadly, for a very, very strange reason, it's been colder than average this year's June. And outside at the moment, it still feels like a very cold winter's day. And I just don't know why. It just feels like winter. Maybe I should celebrate Christmas in June. That would be a new tradition. Who knows? I could tell you guys though, it has been very, very, very unsettled. I could tell you guys, I suppose. I just don't think it's very, very interesting at all. It just feels absolutely disappointing. But what we know is that from the end of June and the start of July, I'd say, without getting any sense of dyslexia, I think we're going to see some high pressure burning up across Europe and anything, I suppose, eh? Well, anyways, I think that's about that in this video. There's nothing much I can say to impress the summer fans, especially myself, because I've still got these on, of course. And if it lasted as long in this video, please leave a like, subscribe for more interesting content on YouTube. And until next time, thanks so much for watching. And I think that's it. Bye.
Well, maybe I could do another jingle of a car going by. Well, that's just great. I released all that woman and it's trapped with nowhere to go.